Hi everyone, my name is Eric, and in this video we're going to be checking out how to use the mask feature within ProPresenter. So the mask is the very topmost portion of the video output within ProPresenter. So if a mask is active, that is happening at the very last stage of what leaves ProPresenter. And so we can use that to section off and limit content from leaving to certain areas within our screen. So if a mask is active, it will prevent video from leaving within certain regions. And so if we open up the mask library here, we can go into the editor, and you'll see there's a couple mask options, and those are specific to this location. But as we see here, this checkerboard area represents space where video will come through if this mask is active, and this black area represents a location where video will not come through. But within it, you see there's another portion of checkerboard. So again, if this mask was active currently, we would only see video coming out in this region and in this region. Anything that's in black here would not come through. So if there was part of the image that wasn't displaying, it would be because it is being blacked out here by this mask. And so you can store masks over here. You can create new ones if you need to and edit those. Check with your production tech to make sure that things are being constructed the way they need to be. But that is how masks are built and configured. And if we look real quick over here at this one, you'll see that these regions can be dragged and edited to support whatever is necessary for this particular mask. In this case, it is sectioning off part of the screen here, and so that is why this is constructed in this fashion. To apply a mask to a slide, that's pretty easy to do. All we would need to do is find the slide we would like to trigger that command. So in this case, it'll be slide 1 here. And then if we right-click, we can hit Add Cue. And if we go to Cue Palette, we can then click and drag a mask onto that slide. And so whenever we click this slide, that will trigger the activation of that mask. So if I hit Done, if we click slide 1 and then go back to the mask library, you'll see that what we selected is now active. And this bar here represents what is active. If I click this X, then that mask will go away. And this slider right here represents the transition time between a mask coming and going. So if you're switching from one mask to another or from active to not active, this will control how quickly that operation happens. So we use mask for a couple different things within our campuses. And I'm going to start a jump back here, and you'll see that on this output region, this location happens to be a double wide location, so there are two video output streams. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But just to show you what this looks like, we'll now open up this mask here, and if I click normal, I'm going to activate something else here real quick so that this is present. You'll see that this region here, just like we saw in the editor, is the only space that is visible to the output. If I go here and if I select open, you'll see that now this entire region is allowed to pass through, and we would see that reflected on our screens in our room. Again, if we switch back to normal, you'll see that this section is now regioned off, and this is the only place where video comes through. So at this point, we're going to look at utilizing the mask to allow a timecode synced video to come through in ProPresenter. And as we mentioned earlier, the mask is the topmost layer of output within ProPresenter. So if we have a background active and then we trigger the mask will go over top of whatever background is currently playing. So it's a good habit to get into before you use a timecode synced video with a mask to make sure that the background information is cleared before you go ahead and trigger that mask. Because when you go out of that mask, whatever background is active when the mask is active will be present when you turn the mask back off. So we want to make sure that we can safely do that and not turn the mask off after a video is over and all of a sudden we have a background that's active that we don't want to see. So I'm going to go ahead and open Video Slave here. And there's one very, very, very important piece that needs to happen before the video output of VideoSlave can get into ProPresenter. And so we'll show that right now. So now the video is playing. Everything is leaving the way it's supposed to. If we go into the mask editor, and there's a couple different options here for this location, but we're concerned with this double wide siphon option. And the way this is set up is the video coming in from VideoSlave is stretched across the entire output, both sides and center. And the video is built this way to be stretched in this fashion to fill both sides and center. So the most important part of this entire operation is making sure you activate the live video command so that video can come out of VideoSlave and into ProPresenter. So to do that, we'll pick the mask we'd like to edit. We'll double click on that live video command and we will change the source to VideoSlave for audio and video. And now that command has been stored and entered within the mask. If you close ProPresenter or close VideoSlave, you need to redo this process. Otherwise, you will not have a link between the two, and video will not play from VideoSlave into ProPresenter. So I'm going to close the mask editor, and just for reference, we'll trigger this background here. So that's going to be happening. We'll go down to the song we would like for the video to play with. And if we click on Add Cue, Cue Palette, we can now drag a mask command onto this slide, and we will set it for double wide siphon. So now as soon as I click slide 1, you see the output of ProPresenter switches to the mask. And again, this video is now playing within the mask, and the mask is the topmost layer of ProPresenter, which enables video to cut in front of what was previously active. And now we can see the video happening from VideoSlave onto our output screen. If I were to go to mask, and if I were to go back to, say, a normal worship look or an open mask, again, that background continues, and that's what we would go back to seeing. So it's a good habit to get into to make sure that there is nothing playing besides the synced video underneath of the mask. And we can do that by hitting Clear All. So now if we go back, we can see that there is nothing playing underneath. So again, good habit to get into, make sure there's nothing playing underneath the video. So you can see there's a couple different options at this location for masks, and they each do something a little bit different with how the video information comes out of VideoSlave and into ProPresenter. But again, any of these that you're utilizing, we'd want to make sure that the video device is set to siphon and the audio device is set to siphon. This particular single wide setup is designed to tile the same video image across both sides and center, so you'd see the same thing on sides and center, as opposed to this one, which is designed to stretch the video across the opening. For the most part, all you need to worry about is the double wide approach. If anything unique happens, you'll hear more about it in the future. Thanks very much for checking out this video. Thanks very much for checking out this video. Hope it taught you something. Thanks very much for checking out this video. Hope you can use this in your Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you learned something.